No matter how high-tech, highfalutin, lazy, or foo-foo America gets, we will never stop hunting and fishing. This is The Hunting Quest. The Hunting Quest. We take 1 hour of every week and talk about our favorite things in the world, hunting and fishing. You'll get tips and help on the fishing environment locally in the DMV area. Plus, we're going to have fun along the way. This is The Hunting Quest. And now your hosts, Mike Tippin and Mark Davis.
All right.
Well, welcome back, Mike. You've been gone for a while.
I have.
Matter of fact, I didn't even know you were going to be. Oh, what am I doing? Hold on. Today is October.
Come on, 27th.
28th. It's Friday. It's episode 716. I don't know what it is. 16, 17? 17. Anna's supposed to tell me that. Chime in there. So I didn't even think you were going to be on here today.
Yeah.
Because you were in Alabama, and I didn't think you were going to be back
Kentucky.
from Alabama.
Not Alabama.
Alabama.
Kansas and
Missouri.
Yeah.
And
Alabama.
So I didn't know you were going to be here today.
Right.
So I had scheduled other stuff, and I even was surprised when you walked in the door today.
I know.
That's how little I do. Were you planning on coming back today or not?
Nah. I wanted to stay out and hunt some more, but getting old sucks. So I had to come back a little bit early, and which is fine.
Well, so when you say getting old sucks, I've heard that term before. What exactly do you mean by that? Did something happen to you?
Yeah,
I already know.
Yeah,
go ahead, tell them.
Yeah, I hurt my elbow, and it and it's not fun.
Did you fall out of the tree?
No, I didn't fall.
Part of me thinks you might have fallen out of the tree.
I didn't fall out of the tree. I did not fall. I take every safety precaution. I was just getting old and climbing up a ladder stand, and elbow popped, and it hurts really, really bad. So
here's a funny story about things like that. So I have kind of a messed up back. I guess I probably herniated disc. So I went to chiropractor. It's all it's weird, whatever. Supposed to wear a wedge, do all these things I don't do. That's just part of life. But the thing is that my back will hurt from doing stuff.
Right.
And the other day we were working in the house, and we had laid like 30-some pieces of drywall up. And the big one is a 12x4, so the biggest one you can get.
Those things are the worst.
Yeah, the monsters. And we're hanging them. And I'm for sure the next day that I'm going to be dying. Or about halfway through the day I'm going to be dying.
Right.
We hang them for 2 days straight, like a long day each day doing them. And I'm just shocked at the end. I'm like, wow, that wasn't that bad. My back feels great,
Sure.
And again, Monday, I think I'm going to wake up and I'm going to feel terrible. Damn, I'm feeling good. I can't complain about anything.
Sure.
So I'm like, just really shocked by how good I feel. Because normally it's pretty predictable. Shit you not. Ann and I are coming to the store later in the week. We're dropping. She says, "Hey, you want to get breakfast?" Or I said, "I don't know." We got breakfast.
Right.
And I get this bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit. I bite into it. And I cough. And I can't stop coughing because it's stuck in my throat.
Right.
I went to get out of the car. My back hurt so bad. I wrenched my back out from coughing. But the whole time doing the drywall didn't do a damn thing to me. But I think this stupid bag of biscuit puts me, it still hurts. And that was 3 weeks ago. I literally was broken from a damn biscuit. But you know what I'm talking about? Like when your back hurt, like you do the little trick. You can't do it. I did it one day. I was at work and I leaned to the back of a car to grab a bag. And I was fine. I turned and I was like, holy shit, I can't move. And I just stood there in agonizing pain. But you do all kinds of stuff that hurts you.
Yeah.
Like the littlest thing.
It's the stupid stuff that hurts, right?
So I feel like
not even a good story.
Like when you say like, oh yeah, I was just, climbing up the side and all of a sudden it hurts and you've done it a million times. Yeah, no. I remember the first time. So when you're young, like your back hurts, like you'll do something to wrench your bad, but it immediately goes away. It's like, ow, it hurts.
Yeah, it's called.
I was under my Jeep years ago and I don't know what I was doing. I was doing something and I was working on it and I turned weird. And this was the first time I experienced back pain. And I turned weird and I went, ow. And that hurt for a minute. And then it didn't go away. And I laid there and I was like, oh my God, this is what people are talking about. This is what old people are talking about. Their back hurting. So I literally muscled through it, put the wheel back in the car, put it together, went down and laid in the couch just staring at the ceiling. And I was like, I can't move for like 3 days. But of course, later on it went away.
Yeah.
But I've always told people like I don't want to call it chronic back pain because these people have really, really bad back pain. They're getting shots and surgeries and all that. And I'm not at that point. But I couldn't survive if it like when I had that the nerve pinched at one point for a while.
That's the worst.
We were doing gun shows and I just was standing for like 3 days straight. And I'd hurt my back and I stood for like 3 days and it went away. And I remember going to the chiropractor for like 6 months. And being like, oh, this guy's fake. Like this guy's lying to me. I don't feel any better and I'm never gonna feel better. Like this is a joke.
Oh yeah.
And then one day I just woke up and I put my socks on and didn't cry.
Right.
And I realized when, oh wait, it's gone. It was fine. So no, I feel you with the all of a sudden everything just hurts. You know,
and it hurts so bad. Allie does the same thing. Like she'll be like asleep and she'll wake up and have like done nothing at all. And she wakes up, she's like, oh my God, I can't move my whole head. And I'm like, what?
It's much better if I can I like when I can explain like what happened. Like okay, hey, I did this.
Yeah,
and
you
now
have
my
a
back
good
hurts,
story to go with it, right?
Or like at least I have somewhat of an explanation. The worst is literally when you like you said you just wake up and you're like, wow, shit, this hurts, and I don't know why.
What did I do?
So that's and there's a lot of different things that cause it, but I feel bad for people that have it really really bad because
it's awful.
That is a nightmare and a half. But you went out hunting, but you didn't get anything, right? You said you passed on a lot.
Yep, I passed on a lot. I was we were hunting on property that we'd never hunted on. It was a new lease for us, and when we basically, me and my brother had gone out for turkey season, and we had looked out there and kind of scouted things out. But when you see stuff in spring versus seeing things in the fall, deer's patterns change. There's especially when they start getting into rut, you can't really pattern a deer then. And so we were trying to figure out where to put tree stands, where to put ground blinds, where to basically establish how we're going to hunt 440 acres of this property that with cows on it, of course. So you got to be careful with that and all of this stuff.
Oh, I'm going to talk about cows too. Go ahead.
Yeah. So we started in Missouri. We hunted Missouri. It was really really cool. I got out there on a Friday night, so I couldn't hunt that day. And then Saturday morning, I woke up and it was like 26 degrees, and it was 80 something degrees.
I was just saying, what was the average? Because we've had some real up and down weather over here. Like I woke up one day and it was literally freezing.
Yeah.
Like there was a frost. And don't get me wrong, there's different levels of frost.
Oh yeah.
Like you come outside, it's a little bit of frost. No, like everything was white and it was still 9 o'clock. And then some nights where I left the window open, we went below freezing. Yeah. And then some nights where I left the window open, it was like 75 degrees. So I didn't know if it was same down there.
So yes, it was. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. But the fighting the weather in this hunt out in Kansas especially was hard, really, really hard. There were days, well, I'll go ahead and tell you, there were days that, it was 88 degrees, middle of the day. That, and at night it's 31, 32. And how do you hunt? I mean, you go out, in the morning with, loaded up for the Arctic, to go sit in a tree stand or a ground blind, and, you kind of go do your thing, right? And then you hunt for, I'm not an all day sit kind of person. I hunt, first in the morning and, and then the evening, take lunch off, kind of do stuff, right? So, in the morning, it's freezing cold, and by the time I'm walking out, it's like 70 degrees. So it went from 30 degrees to 70 degrees. Now, you're going back in about 4 o'clock or 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's 80 something degrees, and by the time the sun goes down, it's 30 freaking degrees again. So you're kind of dealing with that, and it was tough. So, but all in all,
well, I can remember teaching classes and have a similar thing, like we teach long distance classes. Yeah. And I can remember teaching like in April. Yeah. Getting up in the morning. Yeah. Going out. Yeah. Being cold. Yeah. Shooting all day. By the end of the day, you were hot. It was like, almost 80 degrees. So all your gear off. Wind's ripping. Yep. You got windburn. Yep. The next night, it snows. Yeah. I wake up, there's 2 inches of snow on the ground. the end of the day, the humidity is so bad because the ground is soaked.
Yep.
And the windburn and sunburn, and you're just like, this is
miserable
just
day.
awful. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was not fun. And I mean, well, I say it wasn't fun. I enjoyed it. I do enjoy that. It's part of the whole
Just
hunting aspect.
transitional time of
It's
year
just
is a
tough.
nightmare.
And the deer are different. You know, the deer move differently based off of heat, based off of cold, things like that. But I did get to listen to the couple of podcasts when I was gone. Oh, you did a very good job.
Yeah, we did the one with Jay. That was fun.
Yeah.
Had a lot of hate on that one.
Yeah, I
A
heard.
lot of people don't like people talking about Sika deer. That's a big
You know what?
Maryland thing.
And here's what I got to say about that. You know, you want to be a keyboard warrior, great. Go, add comments to, YouTube pictures or Instagram pictures and great. That just kind of shows you the person that you are. So what I'm going to do is and I talked to Anna about this. I'm going to go to the Maryland Department of Wildlife Resources. I'm going to go post all the information there is on the Sika deer. I'm going to post all the public hunting land for Sika deer. And that'll be on both YouTube and Facebook.
Okay.
So we'll make sure that everybody understands just how to hunt Sika deer.
So do you know?
Well, that was such a BS thing.
Well, do you
to
know where the
man.
backstory comes from?
I did. I heard.
And of course, we can say without saying names. There was a certain gentleman.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Well known.
Don't
I won't
hate
say
on him yet.
I won't say. No. I have no issue with
Okay.
him whatsoever. We'll discuss him at a later point.
Yep.
But he went down there, and he's very well followed.
Of course. Of course.
And people blame him for taking it down there. But at the same time, he also did like blue crab down there, and you don't hear people all mad because people are showing up to go catch
Go
crabs.
eat and catch crabs.
So
right.
I can't. I didn't see people mad when he went down to the Keys and caught tarpon.
Right.
I just I don't know. It's kind of one of those things where everybody wants to have their own
complete
thing,
BS. And then the other thing, I saw you had Mr. Damewood on. He did a fantastic job. I was really enjoyed listening to him.
And we'll speak about that too. Really. So everybody that showed up for the auction, we talked about the auction.
Yeah.
Did good. A lot of fun. A lot of guys went out there. Some good deals and stuff. So if you're looking for deals, some things went a little higher than average, and then there was a lot of stuff that was in the medium realm. But we all had a good time. It was fun.
Sure.
It was enjoyable. I like the auction idea as a community thing.
Yeah.
We're doing another gun auction. It looks like in December.
Oh, cool.
With Damewood again.
With Damewood again? Awesome.
Yeah, so we're doing another one in December. As we firm that up and we have more information, we'll give you more about that. But that turned out really well. I had a really good time. Stayed there for like 24 hours. It seemed like the whole time. And it was a blast because ever since COVID, a lot of those social events just don't happen or people are afraid of them. But it was nice to see everybody out and doing that kind of stuff and have fun with it.
I'm very appreciative that y'all found some good guests who come on, or fill in hosts, and I think that's really, really awesome. I'm glad that we had two really, really good co-hosts that came in, and I think we also have.
So there was also a plan. So last weekend we were going to get on too.
Right.
We didn't get on last weekend because of the auction.
Right.
And then we were going to maybe late produce it. It just at times didn't work out. So we wanted to have John Molnar on, and we're going to go ahead and have John on today.
Cool.
So John's here with us. We're going to talk a little bit with John here in a minute about.
And you caught a lot of hell from the last time that he was on here too, right?
We're calling him John Molnar.
No, just for being
John
mean.
Molnar. I'm not mean. I'm just a more
Still can't pronounce it right.
just a more like what do they call rational? I'm a realistic person.
Well, I want to explain. Well, first, welcome. We're glad you're here, John.
Great to be here. Nice to see Anna and Mike
Yeah.
and Mark.
Sure.
I
Mark,
want to.
not so much.
I want to explain something. All right, and not that I feel like I have to. So for those of you who have not met John or Mark, the two of you have known each other for a really long time,
For a while.
right?
Yeah, like 6 months.
All right, so this is common. You two have a natural distaste.
The banter is all
banter.
love. There's no hate.
There's always people that annoy you
Right.
in life, and John Molnar is the person that annoys me
All right.
in life.
So-
No, John's fine. So here's the John story. Let me tell you about John. This is where John and I bicker. Right? This is the difference between us. The most dramatic thing about us is different.
This ought to be good.
No, it's very simple.
I don't think I've heard this yet either. I'm interested.
And anybody that disagrees with me does not know John or myself, because this is 100% the truth. The difference between me and John is all about new things and fads and what's new and what's interesting and what people are doing and all that stuff.
Sure.
I can't stand that. It drives me nuts with fishing wise. Okay.
Sure.
You know, and all these things come out, people want to try them. I'm not the one that's going to run out to the shelf and try something new.
Sure.
I don't fault you for it. You want
Right.
to try it new, that's great. And eventually you're going to find something cool. You're going to find some neat stuff in the mix and so on and so forth. I like stuff that I know work and what I use, and that's what I've been using, and that's what I'm going to use. And it takes a lot of conditioning to me to really do different things that are that much dramatically different.
Right.
Whereas with John, he's always looking for that up and coming thing. So he comes to me constantly with all this new stuff that he's talking about, and I'm like, oh my god, just stop! I don't care. And it's like, but some of it isn't even new. It's like this revolving circle of things. So sometimes he's like, oh yeah, look, man, this jig.
That's a peanut butter and jelly jig.
Look at this jig. It's got a.
Oh, that's
got a-
old school.
It's got a weed guard on it. They just came out. I was like, dude, they did that in like 1920. They just didn't do them for a long time. And he's like, yeah, but so and so just started doing it. But this is.
I believe John has.
I'm not saying this is the jig as an actual conversation of what's happening.
No, I understand.
But so that's the. I would say that's the difference. Is John is okay. So you know when they talk about fishing stuff, and yeah, he's very excitable. They talk about things like.
Now you're helping him out? I'm getting tag teamed here.
They talk about Anna's mic's off, so it doesn't count. So they talk about and especially when you go to like that guy shouldn't be talking about these secrets, but when you go to like the expos for like fishing companies,
Right.
And they have these big events that
Right.
I have none of our listening right now, they'll tell you that that 90% of it has nothing to do with the fishing lure.
Right.
And they say they repackage the same thing and they rebrand the same thing and they make things and they specifically stuff that they know will never work, but they market it with packaging to the fishermen. And they always say the biggest thing on fishing is catching the fisherman, not the fisherman catching fish. So a lot of that happens, and I see a lot of that constantly. And for me, it drives me crazy because it's ridiculous. But John likes to find a new thing. Now, I will say this.
I wish you would have told me this before. I wouldn't have bought half this crap.
Oh, yeah, right. You've never listened to me about any of this ever. I have tried.
You know how much money I've blown this year? My wife's still upset.
He literally walked in with what I thought were gun cases, and they were full boxes with lures cut out of them.
No way. Really?
I mean, it's like, it's out of control. Listen, we'll have a civil conversation, and I just want to smack him in the head. He's like, hey, check this lure out. Pretty cool. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. He's like, $600. And I went, a fish. Yeah, let me see this thing. Give me this thing. Don't even give it to John. Give me this thing. Look at this.
Oh, these are
no,
cheap.
but just look. This is ridiculous. They come in a case.
That's pretty sick. I have to admit, that's pretty dope right there.
Those work too. Don't let him tell you any different.
Non-stop, he buys this stuff. He doesn't even have the space to keep it anywhere.
It's
It's everywhere.
Those are some.
No,
sick
it's my whole
lures.
garage.
But that's some
I
sick
can't even
lures.
park a car in there.
Oh my god! But this is so. But
You're
no,
that
but
guy.
I've got more tackle than Davis here. Might put you guys out of business. Keep going.
but
The
John's
secondary market's pretty hot right now.
John used tackle. This is
That's awesome.
only use what Syracuse fish caught. So here's the. So that's the. I would say that's the biggest difference. Like he is all about this fad. I don't want fad's the wrong word. Fad makes it sound like it's a joke. He is all about finding the new thing, and eventually, sometimes you find new things. But
Right.
I find in general that you tend to just
Right.
get a bunch of crap over time that
Well,
doesn't work.
the main thing that I wanted to start with is so that everybody understands the love. You know, there's a general distaste between you two, as friends, right? So there's no real, Mark's not being mean for the sake of just
This is
being
gonna get me
mean.
more thumbs down.
I love Mark.
Well, no, I think what it.
What did
I
I,
love
get
you.
thumbs down
I
for?
don't. No, that was your Teckle frog.
No, do you know what it was? Do you guys remember the? It was the video.
Yeah.
Well, no, it wasn't
In
the
the
Teckle
pond?
frog. It was the industrial
fishing.
pond, and I
most
thought it
dangerous
was
place
like
in the world.
I thought it was a great video.
I thought it was great too.
and everyone hated it.
No, they didn't hate it.
It got a bunch of thumbs down.
So Mike got a monster thumbs down.
I was so sad because that was a really good one.
I thought it was cool.
I'd like to go fish there again too. 'Cause that was a good little spot.
But again, thanks for coming. And I think the other main reason why is I don't ever want somebody to think, hey, if you're a guest on the podcast, that you're going to get treated like crap.
So no, I like John because John will talk.
Yeah.
So John can pretty much keep his own thing going.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't like get like he gets flustered a little bit, but he doesn't get like overly flustered. Like you don't have to. I don't feel like I have to lead him in the conversation.
Right. No.
Like he could go, if I was like, hey,
Well, somebody said you were thinking about doing your own podcast.
tell me about
Becoming
these
a
lures.
competitor.
Yeah. Basically a rival to this show.
Here, we'll do episode for stuff. I'll do an episode of stuff that always works. Here's my show. I'm going to show you lures that have worked before. John's show. You ever tried to use an octopus lure in a pond? Shit, it might work. So that's kind of the idea.
What
Where
are you gonna call it? You got any ideas?
I've had a few suggestions.
No. You don't take suggestions unless it's from your wife, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. I've gotten suggestions from guys in my bass group.
Okay.
Some pretty cool names. So we'll have to work it out, but we're going to incorporate Nova Bass Assassins in it somehow.
It's pretty slick.
Have a lot of guys from my group on and kick some butt. Get Rogan numbers. That's what we're going for.
I'd like to talk about the fall largemouth bass fishing season. And there are some select baits that I tend to use come fall. And I find now that I've done a lot of research and I found 9-inch flounder lures. You might not catch a lot of bass, but you're going to catch the big bass that are used to eating these flounder in ponds. So this is what I suggest you try using.
I want to throw that.
That's our giveaway.
This is our giveaway. Have you seen
Oh,
it?
really?
Look
Yeah.
at this thing. Look at this. It's almost as ridiculous.
But you can't
as
open
some of the
it.
stuff
People
you
are going
have.
to give you holy hell for that.
I want to open
It's
the
so
plastic
loud.
part, but I can't.
Oh, it's heavy.
So they actually really use those up north.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're super.
Oh, it's really heavy.
super. Well, so there's two bodies in it. That's the jig head.
Right.
Hold it up. Put it next to your face. Look how big it is.
Compared to my head,
It's a molar face lure.
I've got a normal size head, so pretty big bait.
Would you fish that in the lake?
No, I don't take chances. I just go old school.
So this puts going
That's
old
for you,
school,
buddy.
Old school to a whole other reason.
I'm not gonna throw that crap.
I don't throw things that aren't fish that aren't indigenous to the area. This fish isn't in my continent.
Probably catch something on that.
You know, all jokes aside, when I bought these, I don't want to tell my trade secrets, but I bought a bunch because they were on sale. So I didn't read what I was doing because I don't really know how to read if you ask Anna. So dyslexia sucks. I bought a bunch of big ones like this and gave them out as Christmas gifts. to
I remember you
people.
telling me about that.
So
yeah.
that was pretty funny. If you got one for Christmas,
that's a great Christmas present. I think.
if you fish and
Yeah.
you get this for you're so excited for a second till you realize just how useless it is,
I didn't
cool.
get one.
and you hang it,
You can win one,
and you just hang it from somewhere like rafters or something.
right?
But when I ordered them, I got these really big ones, but I also got some that are like this big, and I almost wonder if I threw them in a pond,
Would something get it?
could I catch something? Maybe that's an episode we should do.
Well, you got to realize. Think of it. I mean, bass are cichlids, right? Vicious, right? They are all about protection. So they're going to protect. You know, if they're sitting on eggs, they're going to protect that, or they're going to just chaw on it. Regardless, I'm going to beat the ever living bejesus out of this thing.
I'm thinking, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, could you imagine if we went through all this, all jokes aside, really, all this lure design, all these whopper ploppers, all these swiggle wiggles, and did all this stuff, and then we took a plastic flounder, and that was like the
And it outfished everything.
revolutionary thing. That was like, well, you ever hear the story behind the Mepps lures?
You asking me? No.
So the Mepps lures were in
This is
France.
actually pretty cool.
They were in France. And that's why if you look at them, they say French on the blades back in the day. Now they're all American made. Wonderful lure. So there was a gentleman in the army during World War II, and he had acquired a few Mepps and was fishing somewhere in Europe with them, in France somewhere. And he came home and they worked really well. So he had this teeny little shop, and he, like a little bait shop, soda, stuff like that, kind of like store. And he knew a girl in France from the war,
Yep.
and she was mailing him over lures in exchange for pantyhose, I
Yeah.
think is what it was.
Yeah.
So they couldn't get pantyhose. So he was mailing her pantyhose. She was mailing back the lures. Overnight, Because remember, there was nothing before that. Like everything was like hand carved wooden lures. There was nothing that was like a flash oriented lure really. So he was just nailing fish left to right. People saw how great they were. So he started to have them shipped in, was selling them in the store. In a year, he closed his whole store, built a new place, and was just selling them like crazy. Sold so many in the U.S. market, he bought the patent rights from Mepps in France and moved to the United States, and that's how that started. From some little gimmicky lure that a guy was making in France.
Right.
So you never know if the flounder could be the new thing. And I mean, you're talking about one of the original lures. It's still, I mean, it's always going to work. It's going to work because it's flash, fishy flash, and it's going to, it's going to go and work that way. So it's really interesting with the fishing lures is you never know.
Yeah.
But I mean, and too, yet again, we talk about things too, and this is kind of where he was going with this. And it's my point, like I was making, all jokes aside, we talk about these giant swim baits.
Yeah.
This is not new.
Right. No.
So people
The
think
presentation is though.
the presentation's new, the materials are new.
Right.
But we had gone away from this over the
Right.
years, and then we're going back to it. Because if you look back in the 20s to the 40s, we were really, really big on cutting giant wooden lures. Chub Creek was probably one of your most popular lures out there. And it was essentially a lure about the same size, not as narrow, not as much detail, painted whatever, and they had giant wooden 2- and 3-piece lures.
Well, one of the most famous lures that who was it? Who's the one that does the all wood lures?
There's a couple.
I can't. It might have been Berkeley.
Rapala was...
Rapala. It was either Rapala or
Anna,
somebody.
how do we say it correctly?
Rapala. I don't know anybody who says it. That's Rapala. I know everybody who I fish with says Rapala.
Not getting sued.
How do you say it? How do you say it, John?
Would I just say Rapala? I'm going with Rapala.
All right. Yeah. And you're around a lot of other fishermen. How do they say
I think I heard it on their podcast.
Yeah.
But I might be wrong.
Yeah.
So if you talk to them in person, they will tell you it's Rapala.
Rapala?
But it just does not sound as good to me.
One of their first things they ever did was that old school like wooden broke back minnow type deal, with the swing, and that was directly from the swim baits.
So 90% of their lures, if you look at what you think of a traditional sinking or floating or mid or jointed, they're still balsa wood.
Absolutely.
Coated. Now they do make, like we went over some of the lures before.
Yeah.
They make some other stuff, but most of their stuff is still balsa wood. And that's at one of the selling points is people are like, oh, it's like an original lure. It's funny because fishing lures go through a cycle.
I love the wood though.
They really do.
I think it's cool.
One day I'll bring in. So when I was fishing,
you brought in
striped
your
bass
plugs
as a kid, I would carve my own.
Yeah.
So when I was working nights, I used to have a razor blade, and I would sit there and I would cut the ends off like my dad's like broomsticks and shovels and stuff like that, and because that's really hard wood.
Yeah.
And I would carve fishing lures out of them, and I would make them that way. That's how you would jig them. And we could talk one day. I'll talk to you guys about saltwater plugging, which is people that know it, it's completely different than anything else you do. You talk about color tones and things like that. Yeah. And that's another thing, too, that's really weird in the bass and the freshwater fishing world is we have, like, all of these crazy – he's got some values in the show, but we've got all these ridiculously crazy colors. And at the end of the day, when you were saltwater jigging, the idea was they didn't see colors like that. You had a flash color, you had a red and a white, and you had a black.
But they're moving so fast, it's crazy.
Black was your best contrast.
Right.
And people would say, why would you use black? I said, because when you're saltwater jigging, you're jigging high. They're hitting from below. Black gives it the crispness of outline. So so you would think where you would say black would have it blend in better. The darker the black, the less it blends in, and that's how you would hit it better. Eel jigs. You ever seen an eel play?
I have.
So they're basically illegal now. But what you used to do was you would catch an American eel. You would take it, you would cut around the neck, and you would skin it backwards. Then you would take it, you'd pull your hooks out of the plug, put your eel skin back over it, put your hooks back in, and jig it with an eel skin on it. And that's how you would catch stripers. Yeah. Works real well. But so most states won't let you use
Maryland
eel.
won't let you do it at all.
They won't let you use eel for bait at all.
I think Virginia got rid of it too. I had to go back and check.
So Virginia's neat because they allow a lot of stuff that a lot of states don't. So
but I don't know they did that because of the American eel endangerment. It wasn't endangered, but because of the there was some reason why, and I think it was a protection aspect. This was back in 2011 and 2012. So
we're on a good track of making me look like a jerk today. Andy, do you want to tell your eel story? So we go out of the boat and we're fishing, and Anna hooks to this fish, and she's got this little rod, and she's reeling it in. And she's like, I can't get the fish in. I just reel the rod in. She's like, I can't get the fish in. I'm just reel the rod in. What are you doing? It's not that hard.
Right.
She's like, it's so big, I can't get it. I was like, oh, it's not that big. Just reel the rod in. And I'm having this whole argument. She's like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. And she pulls it up. It's like a 4-foot eel on the back of it.
Oh, my
But it
God.
didn't look like it. That's what it was. So this whole time, she's got this little like Snoopy rod. And I would just reel it up. I don't know what's so wrong with you. It was really funny.
Mark the giant jerk. Look at that.
But no, they what's neat about Virginia is most of their laws follow more like what North and South Carolina and stuff too, which is really good because you can still use cast nets.
Right.
You can use a lot of different baits you can't use.
Right.
Like get caught with a cast net in Maryland.
Yeah, you're done.
Ain't gonna happen.
That's Maryland, though.
So here's a question
Yeah.
to you too.
Sorry, Dewey.
That's really interesting is, and no one could give me the answer, but other than I wouldn't do it is if you're okay. So like for the Potomac, for example, Potomac is owned by Maryland.
Sure.
The only thing that's owned by Virginia is the coast.
Coast. Yep.
So anything that's off of the cove, actually, if you had a boat that had a Maryland registration, and you were in a cove, could you use a cast net?
Okay, let's think about that. I would say no. And the reason why I'd say no is because you have a Maryland, essentially you're fishing as a Maryland resident, right?
True.
And Maryland resident says, hey, we can't use cast net.
Okay, so how about this for a question then? If we're going to use that angle, if you were, let's say you were from Maryland, and you had a Maryland saltwater license, and you went to Gift Peak, would your Maryland license work for the bay at Gift Peak?
Has to.
Yeah, because it's all tidal water.
It's all tidal water.
But people always think, no, it's not going
Right.
to work because
Yeah.
it's not. No, it's the same place. Yeah,
Right.
it's anywhere you go.
But that's a different license, a totally different fishing license.
So your
fish tidal water.
Your saltwater license is your
Right.
tidal water
Right,
license.
right. But you can't, whereas if you're in the Potomac, that's freshwater.
So then that's the question: is at what point does the Potomac become a non-tidal?
I think it's sandy.
I don't know. What
Yeah, I think
line
it's
is.
there's a line there that now how do you know that you're over that line or whatever? I don't know, but it's kind of crazy. So easy to one of those things to try to figure out. So, but we've kind of ventured off course here, and I wanted to.
Yeah. So really quick, what we were talking about was how great flounder lures are for winter, and I would. This is what I use. I've caught.
Absolutely
I was
nothing.
at Sleater Lake, and I was in my kayak, and I caught one using this sort of Carolina, Texas rig, finesse style. So, what would you have used instead of a flounder?
This is how.
Other than the flounder?
If the flounder was not available for use.
Well, let's just clear the air here. I'd never use that thing.
You never gonna get one.
Apparently didn't get one for Christmas.
Limited,
Oh, didn't make that list.
limited edition. I'm about to get up and go get some small ones, and we're gonna go fish them.
Oh,
That's gonna be an
I want
episode.
one.
We're gonna go out there. We're gonna fish those flounders.
I think that's a good idea.
I'll be
You
damned.
get something.
So,
How cool would that be if I actually caught stuff with them? So go ahead.
I'm in.
all right. So
you got this whole tray of stuff.
well, so you're here to kind of obviously the fall fishing season's here, right?
Yes.
And I'm very appreciative, number one, that you're here. Thank you. And
Likewise.
you wanted to kind of, maybe cast some, impart some knowledge on some folks for the fall fishing season, what you're finding that's working, what's not working, what you like, what you don't like. So without further ado, give us your rundown there. See what you got some cool stuff that I'm looking at here, and I like it all. So,
All right.
what do you-
So basically in fall, you're going to hear two different statements.
Sure.
Either I'm crushing it or, man, I'm not getting anything. I'm getting
Right.
skunked.
Yep.
So there's different ways to deal with that. There's different techniques, different colors to go to. So today we're going to cover fall fishing. Originally, Mark and I were going to do a show while you were out hunting.
Yep.
And so I brought in all the above lures. So I'll try to go a little quicker today and burn through
Take your
this
time.
stuff.
No. Just get the information out there. I
Sure,
think more people want this than they want to sit here and listen and see my face. So go for it.
Right.
Spend as much time as you want.
So fall fishing, the big difference with fall fishing is the grass is dying, those bait fish are moving out of the grass, and it's a free for all. Bass are trying to fatten up for the winter, and those little bait fish are running for their lives.
Yeah.
So you could throw patterns out the window. You're not going to be able to go to specific spots at specific times, water levels, and know the bass are there. So the whole lake is wide open. It's up to you to figure out the patterns for that day according to the weather, according to the depths, and
It's kind of like hunting the rut.
yeah, exactly. It's a free for all. So, we're going to start out with, I think I have 7 baits that I use in the fall. And the first one is the bladed jig. So, the jackhammer is my go-to. If anyone knows me, I'm a jackhammer junkie, and that is what I crush it on its leader.
Chatterbait.
And it's a bladed jig.
No, but you said a jackhammer. That isn't made by chatterbait.
Well, it's a chatterbait. It's a jackhammer. It's the jackhammer.
Sorry, Anna would like to disturb you. Yes, Anna.
Move it closer to the
Yeah,
camera.
this way.
Okay. So that is the chatterbait, the Z-Man chatterbait that I use. Gold does really good at my lake, and it's the jackhammer version of the Z-Man chatterbait.
Gold tends to be a better fall color in general, correct?
Gold, I tell you what, until the end of fall, I use gold. Almost exclusively.
I don't know why there's a transition from silver to gold in fall.
Well, I'm going to tell you why in a second.
Do you think it
It's
has
funny you mention that.
to do with the watercolor because of the stainage?
So let me go on to this.
Well,
I
hold
tell
on.
you read my mind.
Hold on,
We didn't
break
even
it.
script this.
We really
So,
didn't script
Well, hold on.
this.
Bring that other one back real quick.
okay.
All right.
Oh, yeah,
So
you didn't talk about your tail either.
Yeah. What kind of? So that's a jig with.
Yeah,
a
so
skirt.
I always use a trailer
Right.
unless I'm really finessey. Generally, I'm going to use a paddle tail.
Okay.
And I had the bag here. It's made by, I want to say Mission. I forget
Okay.
the name of it. But I want something that's really flexible, creates a lot of motion, water displacement. The more that little sucker wags, the better.
So how are you fishing that? Are you are you
Yeah.
zipping it along?
So-
up and down. What's your?
Chatterbaits will work no matter how you fish them. They're a remarkable bait. But what I like to do is I want to make that bait move as if it's a wounded bait fish.
Sure.
So I'll burn it for a little while. I'll pause it. I'll jerk it a little bit, then crank it a little bit. I just want to not give it so much a pattern,
Right.
but the opposite of a pattern.
Right. So bipolar.
Yeah, bipolar, messed up bait fish.
Gotcha.
He's separated from his group, his posse, and he's running for his life. He doesn't know where the
Right.
hell to go. And so that bass is going to see one that's separated from the group,
Right.
from that pocket of fish, and hopefully go for your chatterbait.
Gotcha.
So there's no real pattern to fish it. You want to give it little tempo jerks. You want to fish it. I mean, it's a remarkable bait. You can swim it high. You can swim it low. There's no right or wrong way to fish it, but the way I fish it is as a wounded bait.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
Awesome.
I will fish it with a gold blade until mid-late fall. Now, most bait fish at my lake they're lighter color. They're white, they're silver, shad. So I will eventually go to, and this has got a Kitech trailer. They don't last, but I still use them. So I will go to white and silver chatterbaits. This has a wee guard on it. Don't really use it, but I just like the color. And I will go to that silver blade because it more resembles that white and silver bait fish pattern and color.
I feel
Okay.
like if I had to
So-
pick a color and I was only given one, it'd be white and silver.
Boom.
All
It'd be
day.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
White and silver, or maybe, I don't know, maybe chartreuse.
I'm a.
Oh, John, what do you think about the? Because I'm very opinionated on this. What do you think about the stealth blades?
So the stealth blades,
I have very little luck with those.
when I first started using them, I hated them because for 2 reasons.
Well, tell us about the stealth blades first.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
we gotta expose stealth blades.
So stealth blade is basically, it's a smaller version chatterbait, and it's got a plastic blade instead of a metal one.
Okay.
That's the one downside to it. The metal blade, this one, I can fish in any kind of weed. And basically, when you're pulling that blade is moving back and forth. That'll slice through most of your weeds. You don't even need weed guards for
Right.
chatterbaits because that blade will actually lawn mow through the weeds.
Gotcha.
If you do get caught up in weeds, quick tip, pull your tip up really quick and keep reeling. It'll slice right through weeds. You
Gotcha.
don't need a weed guard for these.
I think part of the reason that chatterbaits or bladed baits in general work so well is, in my opinion, they're a combination of multiple things.
Yeah.
So you have that vibration going
Yep.
on. You have, when you use a non-stealth blade, the silver, the gold, you have that flash like you get
Sure.
from like a spinning lure or so on. And then you also have that skirt and that jig, and you're able to use it in the same style, you could use a
Yeah,
jig
you're hitting
or
on
crank it
every
over.
single thing that a bass
So-
just wants to just
Yeah, they're
destroy.
just
So-
such a phenomenal lure.
Yeah, the other thing that bass can't stand too, they're a predatory fish.
Yeah.
This
Very,
is
very
considered a
aggressive.
nuisance bait. This is going into their territory. It's making
Yeah.
all this noise and
Oh,
water
we
displacement.
ain't putting this. We're putting up with this.
Even if Big Mama isn't hungry,
Right.
she's going to let that, whatever that noisy thing is, humming by, know,
Right.
hey, this is my territory. Boom, hit it.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
that thing might not even be hungry, still going to bite a chatterbait. I think that's why it's so successful. It's a nuisance bait.
Right. Now go back to the stealth portion of this. What's the draw to this thing?
And can you see?
So-
Can you see that on the blade?
Yeah,
see
you got to
that blade
hold
on
it
the
up
camera?
closer to this. So.
So stealth blades are basically, it's the same setup. You got your blade, your jig head, your hook. You put a trailer. They're generally smaller. It's got a plastic blade instead of a metal one. And that's the one downside to fishing these. This will not cut through the weeds.
Right.
Not a tenth as good as that metal. However, if the bass are being finessey, if they're being picky, let's say you've gotten there and they've already been through their feeding time, this is a little smaller, more finessey. They're a predatory fish. Hey, there's a smaller, quicker, easier meal. It's not as loud and as much of a nuisance as that other thing that hung by me earlier. I'm going to attack that. It's a quick, easy meal. So that's basically the stealth blade in a nutshell. If you're throwing a chatterbait and they're not hitting it and you know they're there, follow it with a stealth blade.
I feel like the stealth blade problem I have too is that,
see
that it is such a smaller blade, the portion that it displaces is less, and you wind up having to run it faster. If
Yeah.
not, you won't get the vibration.
Yeah.
So if you've been in the mindset where you've been running them real slow, because a lot of times I run them, chatterbaits really slow, and I'll get that real, slow reaction hit on them, and some things like that you can't do it with the stealth. So that's kind of the downside to it. But I liked that they came up with the idea because it was different.
Yeah.
So
And it's just like a jig. If a big jig's not working, downsize to a micro jig, and that's that quicker, easier meal that's not going to fight as much that bass is going to hit.
same non bipolar pattern.
Yeah. You're
I like that.
I'm always going to fish these as something that's wounded. And I told my guys I wasn't going to do it. I went out and got a slobber knocker. This is a bluegill pattern. Put a longer trailer on it. Can I say what I think about it without Berkeley suing me? Not as good as they, not as good as not as good as what they copied. It is good. Still has water displacement. That blade isn't moving around quite as much.
So I think that if you look at the way they did it, that's another real quick, a regular one.
Regular one?
Yeah. You see how they've rigged it, but they've rigged it. The angle's different,
Yeah.
and I think that's why it doesn't work as well. It just
Yeah.
doesn't. And this, so see how we have this play there, it's left, but not a lot of left and right.
Well,
Yeah.
you and I. can
This
see it,
is
but, well,
all over the place because they drill a hole through it.
Yeah.
Like I don't like that. I don't
more
know
of a
why.
hinge,
It's not. Yeah, it doesn't really seem to work as well. No, I give them this. Color's fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of the color. That's my. Y'all
Yeah.
were saying, oh, you like the white.
Yeah.
That's my go-to colors right there.
Yeah,
Hands down.
during the season, I'm going to throw the predominant bait fish in my lake is
Right.
bluegill and crappie. That's
Sure.
my bluegill mimic right there.
Right.
So, you want me to keep going?
What are we
Yeah,
talking about next?
yeah,
Spinners.
Yeah, my 1-2 punch. If anybody knows me,
Well, hold on, really quick. This is the perfect example of John. I was throwing these big bass spinners, and he'd say, "What are you throwing?" I say, "I throw these bass spinners." Oh, hibbity jibbity, that's not new and cool. And then he started throwing them, and now he throws them all the time. Credit Mark Davis. Go ahead.
you're partially right on
I
that.
am. Yeah. Okay.
I threw them as a kid, and then chatterbait just kind of took over that market.
Right.
And then I worked my way back into spinnerbait because, let's face it, every bass in every lake in the United States in the
Has
last
seen
10 years
chatterbait.
has seen chatterbait. All of a sudden, here comes that spoon rolling through. Hey, that's not a chatterbait.
Yeah.
Boom.
Bass spinner's nice too, really quick, because you're not going to catch small fish. If you're out there
Right.
marketing just for the big boys, the small fish are going to go after it, and sometimes the big fish that won't hit anything will hit. And but what I preferably find around here that tends to work is double-bladed willow white.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best luck. And of course, the other ones work too, but
Yeah.
that's been my most luck.
So during the season, there's my bluegill pattern. So I use a Megabass SV3 and double willow. I'm only using willows until winter. Then I'm going to Colorado blades. So
I like those.
yeah, Megabass,
They got
phenomenal
black
spinners.
chrome.
That's pretty sick looking.
Yeah. So
Now, how do you fish it?
the benefit of this,
Great return.
Yeah, straight retrieve, and I'm
making
burning
sure.
this sucker.
Good, like super fast.
Yeah.
You gotta put a lot of, you gotta get those blades fitted,
Yeah.
especially those willows. They
You're
have so
burning this
much
sucker.
flash, but you're running them fast.
Yeah.
But they hit it like a tank. I mean,
Yeah.
they hit them. Yeah.
Yeah. I love the bites on these. So you're burning this sucker. The great thing about spinnerbaits in the fall, those bass are looking for quick, easy meals.
Yeah.
So this looks like mama bait fish and two of her little kids humming along. This is when you're humming this basically looks like three fish. That bass is going to come along from behind. Boom.
So,
And-
all right. So I got a question for you, and I know the answer, but so Mark and I have had the conversation, and I've had other people talk about it too, from tying on versus using a swivel.
For those,
Yeah.
tie on.
Have to be.
Yes.
So you could use a swivel, but
You'd be all over the place.
well, no.
Yeah.
If the second it hits the water, you have no delay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Basically, for a spinnerbait, you want that vertical.
exactly.
You'll see some of the cheaper ones.
That sit
I'm not going to mention
sideways.
an old sponsor here, but you'll see some of the cheaper ones. You'll throw it, and it'll be swimming like this.
Yep.
No, you want that vertical,
Yep.
and you want that nice big profile. That's the one thing a spinnerbait has over a chatterbait.
Yep.
Bigger profile,
Right.
generally bigger bass.
So, and the
Well, I
reason,
have mine in here.
yeah, and the reason why I brought it up was I wanted to make sure people understand the importance of tying on versus using a swivel. There's a good place. There's a time and place to use a swivel,
Yeah.
and there's a time and place to tie stuff on. So
Now,
I'm trying to make that point.
An
So-
inline spinner,
right,
you have to use a swivel.
right.
If you don't use a swivel,
Yeah.
You're gonna have a nest.
It'll literally spin your line so much that it'll be counterproductive. You'll get a reverse spin from it, which will neutralize your lure.
Right.
Yeah.
So also real quick before I forget, everyone uses an A-rig
Yep.
towards the end of fall into winter, the beginning of winter. They make, gosh, I wish I could remember the name of them, but they make a device and they're compatible with megabass spinners that basically clips on this point where you tie on, and it's 2 extra arms
Yeah.
with blades on them. So you've got a little mini A-rig.
Yep.
Those things are money.
Yeah,
For
they-
right now, those are money.
They do that the umbrella rigs for like when you're fishing striped bass type deal. They do
Yeah.
the same type thing. It's really slick.
You run trailers?
Always on spinners.
No, trailer hooks.
Trailer hooks, never on spinners. You want to know why?
I always run on bass spinners.
I'm sick and tired of having to dig a
I
hook
know.
out of
I know.
deep down.
I know.
Hey, and the one knock on spinners, you get a big bass that hits this. Look where that arm's going.
Yeah.
It's almost a guard for that hook.
That's why I run that trailer.
Yeah. So you will get that trailer. So he sees that trailer. He gets a mouthful here. If you don't run a trailer, he's getting a mouthful here. That hook's further back, and that bar is keeping that hook from getting set.
I think some of it
Always run a trailer.
Some of it is this. They're coming from the bottom. And
Yeah.
they're getting all this mouthful of stuff. And the second they get this, they're not right.
They know
Something's
something's
wrong. You know what I mean?
This is not tasty animal here.
So
Yeah.
I noticed that a lot of them, and this is, and of course, the big bass, it doesn't matter. He's going to eat this thing. You're going to get him. But that size, that pound or two bass, they tend to be in that region where sometimes if you don't have that trailer hook, you'll never catch them.
Right.
They'll hit, and you don't catch them. I always run a trailer hook. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Just thought. But
No,
you're
I get
right
it.
though,
It makes good
because
sense,
a
but-
lot of times now you're picking this trailer hook out behind the gill.
yeah,
It's
and
a
I can't do
nightmare
it.
to get it out.
I'd rather miss the fish than having to sit there and dig out a trailer hook. To me,
Right.
that's just me.
I hate trailers. One last thing.
But I've also caught myself on.
I'm
so
not
many
getting
freaking
paid by
trailers.
Megabass yet, but SV3 and they're 9s. So this is a bigger. You see the willows are a
Ooh,
little
yeah,
bit bigger and this
yeah.
is heavier. So if you're fishing this and you're above those fish on your fish finder, you can go to the SV9 and that gets you a little deeper down.
Yeah.
And I got a wide assortment of colors here. I'm not going to go through because we're a little limited on time.
That's cool.
So on to the next bait.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's see what you got.
Next one's jerkbait. I use it year round, but we were
Really?
talking about,
Year
I
round.
love jerkbaits.
Year round.
I've fished a jerkbait more this year than I have any other year in my life.
I'm a spring jerk bait type person. I've always been that way, and I don't know why.
I agree with you, and I was that way up until a year or two ago.
Really?
A good buddy of mine who's an excellent fisherman, huge jerkbait fisherman, he showed me little tips and tricks,
Yeah.
and I'm
So you changed the presentation
yeah.
throughout the year then to make
Yeah.
them work. Okay,
So
I'm interested to see how this works or what your thought process is on this.
gotcha. So Again, not getting any money from Megabass yet. The 110s,
Yeah.
their jerk baits are phenomenal. You can see with the blade here,
Yeah.
this is going a little bit deeper. This is a +2. It's a heavier jerk bait, so this is a lower presentation. So I'm
Single
not
ball in there in the inside.
Yeah, there's a big one here, and there's one in the back for when you cast.
Yeah, yeah.
When you cast, it's going like this,
Yeah.
tail first, so you can get more distance on
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
And the Japanese, the way they design these baits,
Yeah.
it's phenomenal. I mean, these in my opinion are the best jerk baits out there.
I think Megabass does. I mean, again, they don't sponsor us or
Yeah.
anything. I'm a fan.
Phenomenal.
They're and it lasts.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. They use quality hooks. Everything works on it. It's functionally correct, and the paint. I think the paint's pretty cool.
Gorgeous. So this is a +2 for deeper down. I'll use a +1 normally throughout the year. I'll go to +2 if they're deeper down. Right now, I'm just going the regular 110 and the 110 Junior, which is lighter. I don't have one of those because I have it tied on, but this is a 6 cents jerk that's basically the equivalent of maybe a +1 in between a +1 and a regular jerk bait from.
All right. So explain to people what +1 means versus +2 plus. Explain that to.
More pluses, the deeper you're going to get.
Right.
Yeah, it's heavier. It's got the bigger lip. You can see the lip size. So this
Absolutely.
is obviously going to get down deeper. This is more shallow.
Yep.
And you can also have them lipless as well. I'll get to that in a second. But generally right now, I'm throwing this, again, color pattern. It's white, silver, got a little gold in there. It's like a thread fin pattern. And I'm fishing this I'm fishing it as fast as I can. I'll still add those pauses. But that's generally how I always fish jerkbait. If it's a slower bite, I'll pause like a glide bait in between those jerks. But generally, I'll have a steady jerk. If they're aggressive like they are right now, pop, 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 pop. I'm just jerking it so that thing's in a constant.
Not a single suspension.
I'll give it maybe 4 or 5 pops. Give it a half second. Pop, 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 pop. Give it a second. So it's a quick Z stop.
Yeah,
quick
it
Z
makes
stop.
sense.
Yeah,
But, man,
yeah.
that'd be tough for me to. I'm so ingrained in snatch and don't move that thing.
Yeah, yeah. Depends on the bite. I mean, if it's a slower bite, longer pauses.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I tell you what, these are phenomenal in any lake at any time, but
Leeches.
especially right now during the season.
Yeah.
So this is a 6 cents bait right here. During the season, bluegill pattern. It's got red flake in it. It's got a number 4-0 hook, 4-aught hook, and that's a soft jerk bait right there. And you can swim it just like a jerk bait. I swim this more erratically. The thing that's nice about this, it's weedless. So it's that jerk bait that I could throw in weeds.
Especially in your lake in the
Sleater will eat you up, man. Sleater's got some weeds. So I'll go from that color right now to more of a bait fish color.
And that's what you move to over to the fall?
Oh,
Or-
yeah. And I'll fish this thing quick, and I'll throw it in any weeds.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very
So
cool.
there's that color difference.
Yeah,
Some guys don't
I've-
buy any color. I do.
Well, I've fished leader, and I know I've thrown 2 of the same thing side by side.
Yeah.
And, my wife's throwing the same thing, different color, and she's killing it. And
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything. And we're fishing the same style, same everything. I just say, change the color up on something. And so I do think color matters. To what extent, it's hard to say. So
And a lot has to be said about. I mean, these bass aren't dummies.
No.
The Sleater Lake bass, they're pretty smart.
they're pressed hard.
You go one day and throw something and crush it, and the next day you go and throw it again.
Yeah.
They aren't going to bite because they're going to remember eating that thing with a sharp hook
Absolutely.
the day before.
Yeah,
so,
they don't forget about it.
Yeah. So
So
generally,
no topwater right now. Huh?
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh,
And you mentioned topwater. So generally, my number one bait, probably what I'm best at is frog fishing. Anna's saying we got 5 minutes.
oh, take your time. Don't worry about the clock right now.
Oh, we're going to hum
Just-
through this. We're going to get through it. So
Right there.
frogs, my best one, and this is a Molix. So anyone, Mike Iaconelli, sponsored by Molix.
Yeah.
I went with this a few years back. Great water displacement. You can fish it on mat. You could fish it in open water. It's the Swiss Army knife of frogs. You could use it anywhere.
How do you fish it?
All of the above. So right now, there's not a lot of weeds at Sleater.
Right.
They've all died down. So what I'll do, I'll cast it into the shoreline, hop it into the water.
Yep.
So it's mimicking a frog jumping into the water, and
Let
they're
it
generally
sit.
going to hit it
Yep.
right as soon as
If
it
it
hits
doesn't
the water.
hit as soon as
boom.
it hits,
Yeah.
let it sit maybe, a second, maybe jerk it one more time.
Yeah. And the motion on this, I tell you what, when I'm swimming it right, you can't tell if it's a frog or not.
Right.
Phenomenal. So go out and get you a Mollix.
Yeah. I like the Teckles though. I have to admit, I'm a Teckle fan.
Tackle, my number 2 frog.
Yeah.
And I get them here at Davis Guns and Gear. Get yours too. Not as much water displacement. It's narrow. Those back little feet, you would not believe how much attention they draw.
You ever
very
use
good
the
hook set.
sprinkler set on those things too? So.
And what I like about tackle too, just like scum frog, the hooks go up, so you got a good hook set. I did mention scum
That
frog.
being said, too, because we are talking about that, the average person, the first time you go fishing,
Will never catch a damn thing on.
Don't take a frog.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
gonna make you hate fishing. It's gonna make you hate everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is one of the last things you learn to do because it's a nightmare. I mean, if you gotta delay, you gotta set the
It's
hook.
a challenge.
I mean,
Yeah.
I
I mean,
like it's
that-
got to eat that body for the hooks to come up.
That's got it's a hell.
This is
of-
not an easy thing
no.
to fish with.
But it's a hell of a challenge. I
I
think,
tell you, once you get it down though, it's
So you know how we talk about frog lures? We talked about this before, but why aren't they make big frog lures? Why don't they make really big frog lures? So last time I was muskie fishing, the muskie guy had a frog that was this big.
Oh God.
And
I've
we
got
would-
some bigger
and
ones.
we would shuck it out there, and it would swim in the water, and it was and it dived. It was a diving swimming in
Jesus.
the lakes, and it looked like a damn
giant
real frog.
bullfrog.
It was the coolest thing ever. Side note, it was just really interesting.
well. If you think about the frogs, the bullfrogs at Sleater, I mean they're
huge.
They're a ham
They're
sandwich. They're
monster.
big mamas.
Yeah. That's
for-
kind of slick. I like the color on that guy. I
So
haven't seen it.
for heavy mat, I haven't been using this so much this year. It's a scum frog. Great
Yeah.
thing about that, if you guys know anything about scum frogs, first of all, those hooks jut out.
Yeah.
So you're going to get a good hook set. The second thing about a scum frog, the plastic's a lot softer and thinner on the top. So when big mama bass comes up, that plastic's caving
Already
right in,
there.
and those two
Yeah, it
hooks
doesn't
are
take
sitting in
but a
that top
second.
lip.
Now, is that weighted on the bottom as like all the other frogs, or
Yeah, it's a little heavier, and so I fish this on mat. If it's a mat, this one's getting tied on.
I got you.
This is more traditional scum frog, big feet.
Yeah.
I like those.
So, but that's neither because a lot of companies don't do this. Like,
Yeah.
okay, so we talk about tackle, has all these different options.
Yeah.
Well, recently a lot too, but for a long time you didn't get a lot of different options. You got skirts, you got
Right.
skirted patterns, and that was it.
Yeah.
You know, something like that. Whereas now, like this, the water, I don't say displacement, that's not the right word. The movement that this is going to take on the top of the water is way more than this is going to do.
Right.
Right.
So that's what I find really neat about it. But sometimes it's too much. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I cut my skirts though. I cut my skirts half. Like
You know what?
On short on one side.
I do too. That's new. I lost one of these
Okay.
last week.
All right,
It's
all right.
brand new. I
Yeah.
trim them too. We'll get it going quick here. Walking bait. I can.
Frog down.
Walking baits. I always start out big, just like chatterbaits, just like any other bait. I'm starting out big presentation, working my way down until I'm getting bites. So this is a KVD. I believe it's KVD.
Yeah.
I'll start with a walking bait this big.
That's a freaking stud.
And
right there.
that crushed it last year. If that's not working, this is another KVD one. The sexy crap, I can't remember the name of it. It's sexy something. And it's got the rattles in it. I'll start with something big. I'll go with something smaller. Chrome pattern works in clear water, works in
pretty much anything.
stained water.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chrome and also 6 Sense. They're is it Walking Cat?
So this,
Great walking baits. That's a 6 Sense as well.
but this looks, I mean, to the T.
You got to talk to Mike. It's a carry.
It looks like a T, like the, to the T, like, what's the Japanese lures on the wall I have back there?
Missouri?
Back corner. Red packaging.
Oh, what's that?
Yeah.
I mean, this looks just like a Lucky Craft Sammy.
Yeah.
I mean, like to the T. Like, are they?
Are you accusing 6 Sense of knocking off lures?
No,
I love 6 Sense, man.
what I'm asking you is are they a conglomerate together? Because
No.
this looks.
No. This is a couple years old.
Anna, can you go grab a Sammy off the wall from them, please?
Oh, you're going to get us sued. Don't
big
do
one?
it, Anna.
Go get it.
And that's the, it's the something cat. That's a 6 Sense as well.
Okay.
All right. So
Yeah.
I want to talk. Hold on. So the walking lures, as you talk about it, that.
Yeah.
So I'm a lot of people don't understand, when they say, oh yeah, it's topwater lure and you have to walk it or whatever. And they don't understand what it takes to actually walk a lure or what that means.
Yeah.
So if you wouldn't mind, kind of explain a little bit about that.
Sure.
I know I had the same conversation with my wife,
Yeah.
and I told her, I said, she will not fish a bait casting reel. She doesn't like them. She likes open face. So she calls it her flipping flings, right?
Yeah.
And she'll throw them out. And I was like, you'll never be able to walk with those.
Right. Yeah, you got to go with a bait caster. You've got to go. I go with straight braid.
She proved me completely wrong.
Really?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I got to go fishing with her. So, I mean, they aren't a copy. I mean, all walking baits look similar, but 6 Sense is a little better.
I don't know.
Yeah. But basically,
Yeah.
you want that line taut.
Yep.
I don't like to cast it too far because I like to see that walking action. I want to know that I'm swimming it correctly. And you're basically,
Thing's huge.
no way. No way. 6 Sense all day. I like to cast it almost as far as I can, but I like to see that Z pattern.
Yep.
And you're basically, it's almost like a fishing a jerk bait. It's that that steady pop, pop, pop. And you're basically,
But it's
yeah. And every once in a while you could pause it just like a jerk. It's basically a topwater jerk bait.
So I'll tell you something. And I'm one of the things that I've found that I can walk lures. I think I'm pretty good at it. I spent a lot of time as a young man trying to figure it out. Yeah. So, and I do a good job with it. But what the key I found in all of it was I tie a loop.
Right.
I don't tie it, I don't tie it a tight to whatever it is, and I don't use a swivel. I tie a loop to whatever it is, and I get more action, and it is way, way easier on that, to get it to walk.
Yeah.
Especially with people who have never really done it, it's so much easier.
I tell you what, especially if you're new to walking baits, it's easier to fish it that way.
It is.
I have and I haven't. With the bigger ones, I will. With the smaller ones, I won't. Because with the smaller ones, I want that quicker, tighter pattern. Boop,
Sure.
boop, boop, boop,
Just-
boop. Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
What's wrong?
Since it's a Japanese company, it's an American company.
Oh, yeah. No, I didn't say
Started-
6 Sense was
you said
Japanese.
it
6
was
Sense is in
Chinese.
Texas.
You said Japanese.
I'm a Six Act member.
They're made in China.
I don't know about that.
Japan. Just Google it. They said even on their website they're made in China. Everything
Oh, boy.
6 Sense has is made in China. This right here, Japan. I'd rather buy Japanish things than Chinese things.
Ouch.
Put it out there.
Hey, it's got some sharp hooks on it there.
First time I got hooked tonight.
Yeah.
So,
All right, these are my favorite.
yeah, we're getting to the square bills.
Yeah.
Clark Elmore, this is for you. Love fishing a square bill.
Yep.
For anyone that doesn't know how to fish a square bill, around structure, especially around rocks, you want this to dive down and bounce off those rocks and structure. This is I fish this at my lake a lot because, and this again is 6 Sense, American made. It's great diving for 5 to 7 feet. And this is actually a newer one because I've beaten the bejesus out of the one before this. Great little bluegill pattern. I'll hum it along as soon as it hits a rock. I'll let it come up a little bit and then crank it again, boom, until it hits a rock. So it's almost like a saw pattern. You're going down, hitting a rock, come up, hitting a rock. Here's a trick. If those are not working for you, this is a great alternative, the flat side. It's a lot more narrow. It's a lot tighter pattern to fish. You can still bump them off rocks.
It's almost like fishing like old school rattle traps with a bill on it. Instead of a lipless crankbait. Yeah.
So this is great for craw. This is great right now for shad, bait fish. And basically it's thinner. It's going to have a tighter wobble.
Right.
It's got the motherboard lip. They're a little tougher than the plastic. And these are great for flats at Sleater Lake. If anyone knows the eastern side of the lake along the berm, there's a whole entire section there that's 3 feet and flat as a pancake. These are 3 to 5 foot divers. You bounce these along the rocks and the bottom of the structure all day long. These are my little, I can't believe I'm giving this up, but these flat sides are a gem right now for 3 to 5 foot flats. The great fall, it's the only time I fish them in the fall, and they're outstanding. So craw, bait fish.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I have a special place in my heart for crankbaits to begin with, but I've got a Guggen that's kind of shad based, and it doesn't matter where I've thrown that thing or when I've thrown it, it always works. In Sleater, they destroy it in Sleater especially, and I was a big fan, right?
Yeah.
But one of the things that people need to be very cognizant of, and this is just for my own edification because I've spent that time doing it. Hand me one of those that you had.
Square bill?
Anything really works, but so one of the things that people have to be careful with is this thing sits like this, right? And it kind of goes down like this, and then it'll kind of square bill kind of comes up like that. This back end hook has a tendency to, when they come in to hit, they're going to hit, and this hits in the top of their mouth.
Yes.
And you gotta be careful with that.
Yeah.
You make sure if you're gonna fish a crankbait, you better make sure you got some sharp hooks.
Yes.
And if you don't have sharp hooks, don't bother throwing it.
Some of the baits, like, I mean, this heat on.
Yeah.
If you ever buy heat ons, I mean, I just got this not too long ago. Replace those hooks because these ones suck.
Yeah.
I forgot to cover this also. Walking bait. You want more water displacement? That's got that concave mouth, little cupping action to displace water. Sorry.
Oh yeah. I'm just handing it to you.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. You're welcome. It's gone from him to me to you. You give it back to him.
I don't know how much time we got.
We're over 10.
We're over 10? Mm-hmm. Can I cover one more?
Yeah. Yeah. Go for it.
So one of the things I've tried last fall, this fall, the important thing with fall fishing, covering water, speed, no patterns. You want to cover a lot of water. So 6 Cents makes these speed wakes.
Okay. I
And
haven't seen these.
I have not seen this either. It's
yeah,
weird.
and you can see that bill comes flat down.
Yeah.
So it stays upright and near or at the top of the water.
Okay.
The way that they want you to fish these or recommend that you fish them, reel these suckers in as fast as you can.
Really?
A high gear ratio reel, you're casting as far as you
8 to
can, and you're humming that sucker. So if you see a bait bundle out in the water, cast it past it, burn the sucker right through it as fast as you can.
Right.
And I tell you what, I've got 2 tied on right now. The speed wakes are money. They're fast. They cover a lot of water. And actually, this is similar to the one I have tied on right now, but they're very
I like
fast.
the eyes on that.
Yeah, and you
You
cannot
did a good job with those eyes.
Yeah, and you cannot fish this fast enough. These things burn through the water and they swim phenomenally well.
It's definitely neat looking.
Really cool. Yeah. So
Now
I mean,
you got him something new.
yeah.
He
Mark
won't fish
agrees
it.
with me.
He won't fish it though.
Hey, Anna, write this down. Mark just agreed with me.
Right.
No, I'm just trying to think of how it would go. I mean, something different that's actually different.
Yeah,
I think it's cool.
and they work. Yeah,
it's
the
got the
bluegill
brook tail.
pattern,
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Yeah, I would stick with the blue.
Yeah.
Just because of that's my own issue, I guess, I don't know, or whatever. That's what I like. I like fishing more of a realistic. Every once in a while, I'll get outside of that comfort zone, like at Sleater, red belly.
Yeah.
I don't care. If you have something with a yellow or red belly, it doesn't matter what it is. You're going to
Orange.
do pretty. That orange, pattern. You're gonna kill it. So
I told one of my guys out in Nebraska, he struggled a little bit today. I said, I'm going to give you a couple secrets on there.
all right,
Mark may have mentioned it earlier. Color.
yeah,
What bait fish looks like that? Not many.
yeah,
But you're fishing this fast. It's a square bill.
all right,
And those bass right now are looking for anything different. You burn this through or down
Yeah.
along a pattern of fish.
right.
Now is the time to throw that weird color you're not going to throw any other time of the year because
Right.
this one does sit in the box
Well,
a lot.
and it's been sitting in Sleater. Sleater's heavily pressured fish.
Yes.
I mean it's a big lake, but heavily pressured.
Yes.
So they've seen probably everything under the sun.
They've seen the bluegill, the white to silver. All of a
And seen
sudden,
that.
comes humming along, bounces off a rock.
Yeah.
I think I'll eat that.
Right.
Yeah.
I love it. I think that's awesome. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, pretty neat.
That's about as much as I'm going to get. Yeah, those work great. So, for my guy out in Nebraska,
Yeah.
speed wakes, the narrow bodied. I mean, basically that's a square bill that has a tighter wobble,
Yeah.
and you fish these generally more shallow. But if you have flats in your lake, use these.
Cool.
And those motherboards.
I like the paint on that too. It looks slick.
Yeah, 6 Cents. I mean, their patterns and their paint jobs are phenomenal.
Good job.
That Milliken craw,
Yeah.
That thing is a straight out killer. I mean, if you have crawfish in your lake, go out and buy about half a dozen of these and thank me later. Yeah.
So, let's see. We're at our time, I think, right?
Yeah, we're past it.
All right.
All right. Well, that was informative.
Well, yeah,
Very much so. It was a good idea bringing it on.
I really appreciate you putting this information out. I mean, that's why we started this podcast, was to try to help people understand how to fish in local environments. And I cannot thank you enough for doing that and kind of sharing some of your secrets there. So that's
Always love seeing you guys, especially Anna.
well, and
Hope your elbow gets better, and
yeah, me too.
hope your back feels better
Anna
from the
didn't-
biscuit injury.
Anna didn't talk today.
Anna didn't say anything, but
Yeah, she
I'm not going
wouldn't talk
to make her.
today.
But,
I mean,
You
Well,
guys
next
don't
time
see
John
Anna.
is on, he can bring his puppy because
Oh.
he does have a new puppy, and if he pulls it up on his phone, he can put him on the camera.
Probably got the coolest dog in Percival, Virginia right now.
He's a mini version of Moose.
Yeah. Let me know if I'm lined up. 10-week-old, 25 pounds. Which way? Closer? 25 pounds of terrorist right now. He's beating the crap out of our 11-year-old lab. But 10-week-old English black lab named Trigger. And you can see I got him tacked out. He's wearing a little tactical vest. But
it's pretty slick.
thank you to Haringo Labs. That's our third lab we've gotten from Haringo. And Purebred English Labs, good stuff. You want to get a lab? Look up Haringo online.
That's cool.
I think that's one of the only things I plugged. Last time I was on, I plugged like 37 things. I plugged two things tonight: Megabass, 6 Cents, and Haringo Labs.
So
Remember,
well, we appreciate it.
John Molnar says if you're going to shop lures, make sure they're Chinese. So that's about it for tonight. I think we're done. We're over time. We will be talking about some other stuff. We are going snakehead fishing. Woohoo.
Yep.
It is prime snakehead season.
It is.
We
And
are
it is-
going duck hunting
It
too.
is
aren't we?
prime empty freezer space for them.
Yep.
We got the big freezer up and going because we butchered the cows.
Ah, yeah.
So we are ready to fill up the spot with a bunch of snakehead fish.
Yep.
We got Anna a brand new duck gun.
Yep.
Anna got herself a Frankie.
Yep.
20 gauge youth works out well for her.
That's awesome, by the way. I'm super excited to.
Yeah,
to
we're
go
gonna do
out.
that. That should be really fun.
So I think we're going. The 26th is one blind date that we have for ducks with Travis.
Yes.
So
and then we got to figure out the snakehead thing. And then
yeah.
I got another call. The guide wants to, the muskie guide says winter. So cold out there.
Oh hush.
Long 8 hours out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's coming up too probably. And
That's
then
cool.
what is cool too is our guide down at Ocean City that we use, bottom bouncers that I haven't plugged in a little while. He just broke the state record for a shark. A what? He said cuttlefish. Smooth, like smooth side dogfish or something. They broke the record. It's a pretty good size one too.
No kidding.
Yeah, so now they've got a record on their boat too.
Oh,
so
that's awesome.
I don't know how many other ones they have, but that was what they had, which was really, really
Well, that's
cool.
awesome. That's really cool.
So it's nice to know that you go out with some of the guys that are breaking the records out there.
And we're gonna put some videos up. Hopefully, when I'm going back out to Kansas and Missouri to hunt, and we'll put. If I can remember to actually bring the.
And then we
battery
did
charger.
talk to Peter Dalton about going out and opening some traps with him.
Yeah.
So that should be kind of cool.
And I'm going to talk to him. I need to get a hold of him for another reason. You know, I kind of mentioned that maybe getting him out to Kansas and let him get some of these coyotes that are sitting out there, and there's thousands of them. So
And then we also got the guy from some good different companies coming. I still got to get stuff sorted out. St. Croix's got a rod coming for me to demo that we'll talk about too. That's
Very
that
cool.
new, the musky pistol grip rod. Great for the figure eight part. I don't know the rest of it. So
yeah, that's freaking amazing.
And then we are going to order a bunch of their combos.
Yeah.
So that'll be really cool for the first time they're doing a combo.
I can't believe it.
You know what's nice about St. Croix? It's
Everything.
all I own, and when I buy a new one, I just stick them in with the rest, and Christina doesn't know I bought it. So hopefully she isn't watching tonight, but got a garage full of St. Croix.
Yeah.
Looks like I'm getting some more.
Well, I was going to say, the best thing about the best thing about St. Croix, everything. They are phenomenal rods.
Yeah, because we're doing our order for next year.
Yeah.
This-
And the reels.
before November 15th. We have to do it.
So, did they partner with the reel?
I can't say what they did, but they did. Yeah, they put it with a company,
All right.
a legit company.
Okay,
but
cool.
I just they're not dropping names. It's not. It's
No, that's
unbranded.
cool. That's cool.
It's braided through them, so it's not. But it's
That's all right, cool.
It is from a real manufacturer.
That's cool.
Yeah, it would make sense than the manufacturer reels.
Yeah.
But we held them, we handled them. They brought all the demand, and I mean, they were nice.
Nice
I was
setup, huh?
impressed. Oh,
Oh, don't do that.
Oh boy.
sorry.
Are we boring you, Mark?
No. I was impressed with what they had. It was really nice.
The host just yawned.
Just yawned. Wow.
Cut. Edit that out, Anna.
So we're gonna have them come on and talk to them a little bit, and then also I was thinking about having. We sell Hawk optics, which are kind of like a lesser known optic.
Yeah. I've got a set of binoculars I'm testing out, and
We've
I
been
love them.
selling it for years now.
Yeah.
They sell really well, and I it's like, there's other brands that are a little more name wise that.
Well, I like my Hawk. I like the Hawk binoculars. I dropped them out of a tree stand.
So there's another
and they
brand.
didn't break. So
It's more money. That's a little more hipsterish.
God, don't do it.
And I'm not going to say who they are, but they have this lifetime warranty.
Yeah.
Well, so does Hawk Optics for that reason.
Yeah.
And they're even cheaper and they're nice. So I was actually going to buy one of their high magnification ones to shoot long distance with and see how it works.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so I was going to even have that guy on because that'd be kind of cool to talk.
I'm a fan.
So-
I have to admit, and that's the other thing. I did a what's in the bag on YouTube. So what do I do for what I took bow hunting and stuff like that. So if y'all are interested, check it out. If you want more information about that, I'll gladly get that out to you too. But the one thing that I do want to tell you, I spent 3 weeks hunting with a new bag, and it's made by Mystery Ranch. It's called the Treehouse 38. That is the most amazing bag on the planet, and I am a super, super fan. And no, we are not sponsored by Mystery Bag, but gosh almighty, they are amazing
Did you get your bow?
Yeah, I got my I have a Raven.
No.
R10.
Didn't you buy a fishing bow?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, we have to bring that in and talk about that too.
Yeah, cool.
Yes, we got a bunch of stuff coming up.
Yeah.
We're so far behind on everything, but
Yeah,
yeah,
we
we'll
are.
get rocking on that. And maybe we'll do some more. I do some intro videos. I've got a whole bunch of projects that I'm working on in the
I know.
shop, so maybe I can put some of that stuff on some film too.
How to
and
clean
go
a duck
over some
gun.
stuff like that, and
How to clean a shotgun.
we'll be good to go. Yeah, we can go over some interesting stuff. So that's it. I know we're like 20 minutes over.
Yeah,
so,
way over, but that's cool.
But
We
it
got a lot to
happens.
talk about. But thanks again, John. We appreciate you being here, and we appreciate everybody
Always.
listening. So,
You guys want me on for winter baits?
of course.
Reach out to my agent.
that's
We'll
what-
work something out.
I thought that's what we just did. Was is this
No, that's fall.
Fall baits. Sorry.
Yeah.
Fall baits. Fall
All
baits
right.
versus
Voting
winter
coming up
baits.
too.
Oh yeah,
Vote
vote.
early and often
Yeah.
on cow.
I think you said boating. I was like, what?
Is it voting?
Voting. Let's go hung.
Yeah, he comes in here all the time.
Does he?
Yeah. Anna's.
Let me know next time. I'd love to meet him. My wife met him when she voted.
All right.
Phenomenal guy.
All right, we are gonna get off. Oh, really quick too. Percival Eats makes really good sandwiches. Shout out to Percival Eats for really good sandwiches, and they have no idea we're talking about them. But we got sandwiches the other day. They're really good. So, just so you
All
know.
right. Now we're just punch drunk. So, all right. Thanks everybody.
Yeah,
Go-
that's it. Remember, take kids out there.
go
do
take
stuff
a
with
kid
the
out.
kids. Those
It's-
are the youth.
yeah.
Go online, buy some stuff from the website. Website's up and running. Fishing part's still not on. Still working on that. I don't know. It's taking a little longer than we thought.
But we appreciate everybody listening, and hope you have a good one. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Hung cow.
You've been listening to The Hunting Quest. No matter how crazy, high tech, or lazy the rest of the country gets, we will always be hunting and fishing. If that's you, you've found your new family. Thanks to our sponsor, Davis Guns and Gear. Thanks for listening to the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. And we'll be back soon. Reach out to us by email at info@thehuntingquest.com and check us out on Instagram and YouTube at The Hunting Quest. See you next time.